everybody. Welcome to the club. It is Monday the 3rd. Look at the crowd we have. We've got lots of great videos to share today. And Royce, you are going to start us off today. Why don't you tell us about this video, please?
Okay, this is a little promo for the drone workshop forum that's coming up this Friday, 10 o'clock. And the purpose of the forum is to just get people who are interested in drones connected up, come up, find information, get them connected up maybe to others who already know about drones, encourage them. And the long-term goal is that they get connected and know each other, so then they come here on Monday morning and they can continue the relationship and know about drones. Just like cameras, this is just another tool. And so this was a promo for that class on Friday.
Okay, well, let's check it out. All right. Does that get you excited to come to the club on Friday?
I worry a little bit about the broken one at the end.
There's a saying in the drone community, not a question of if you're going to crash, only a question of when you're going to crash.
Or lose it.
Or lose it. And we've had a couple of people lose them in here. I think I've destroyed 4 drones. 2 were my fault, 2 were not my fault. So it happens. But
Are they get struck by lightning or something?
no, it's too long of a. I can tell the stories afterwards. But yeah. Anyway.
Well, the other thing is DJI has a program, an insurance program that you could, if you break it or crash it, because I had to do that, send it in to them and then they repair it and send it back to you.
Ooh. On a new purchase.
On a new purchase.
Okay. Yeah. So basically an extended warranty. Well, if you don't fly too aggressively, you're probably not going to crash. But when you start getting a little more aggressive with your drone, that's when bad things can happen.
Yeah, that one shot up there where it was going into the cliff.
Yeah.
Now that was saved by the drone
Yes.
right there. Because I lost track of where it was at. Oh. And it had some side breakage on it.
And that's one of the settings on drones, obstacle avoidance.
Yes.
To either stop or go around it.
Yes, you are correct. So Friday, 10 o'clock, is that in this room, Royce?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. So if you're interested in drones, please come out. And are you going to lead some stuff, or are you just going to talk, or you just have people talk about stuff?
Well, I'm got stuff to simulate the conversation, but
and
it's
then,
going to be a group kind of format.
okay. All right, great. Well, thank you for that. All right. Let's see here. What else we have? Hey, Sherry Lee, you have got a video. Why don't you tell us about this, please?
This is the first part of our cruise from December, and it covers the time in India and Sri Lanka. And some of you will see who saw the Yala Safari. That's kind of at the end of this. It got inserted into this particular travel video.
Okay. Well, let's check it out.
It was December 2024 when we flew from Arizona via Atlanta, via France, to Mumbai, India, where we would join a cruise on the Celebrity Millennium. We came in a few days early to acclimate and explore. Right off the bat, arriving at our hotel at 2 a.m., the neighborhood looked quite sketchy. Uh-oh, what have we done? Walking around the impoverished neighborhood the next day didn't do much to alleviate our concerns. However, The Elphinstone Hotel was very nice, the staff excellent, and once we tried out the local cafeteria and bar downstairs from the hotel, we began feeling very comfortable and pleased with our choice. The whole feel of the neighborhood was local versus tourist. And how was the traffic? Quoting Fred, the most intense amusement ride I've ever been on. Our first tour was to a nearby island to see the Elephanta Caves, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The name Elephanta came from the Portuguese when they stumbled into a large stone shaped like an elephant. The Hindu deity of the island is Lord Shiva, the destroyer, preserver, and creator. The cave is famous for its many sculptures representing the ways Lord Shiva can manifest. I had a hard time seeing the beauty as the pollution and poverty got in the way, which intensified the next day with our slum tour. The guide for our private slum tour was born and raised in slums focused on laundry. He said he still lives in the slum with his wife and daughter. This slum handles most of the laundry of neighboring hotels. He actually seemed proud to share his slum with us and took us inside and to the rooftop, which was not typically included. Next, we stopped at a fishing slum. Not thinking I'd want to eat fish from these waters. Lastly, we toured the Dharavi slum, the most densely populated area in the world.
This is the biggest slum in Asia.
It was quite different from what I expected. Yes, the poverty and pollution were beyond intense. However, people were working hard in different trades and earning a living. There was a focus on recycling and reusing in which they exhibited beautiful craftsmanship. The children even had a place to play. Unfortunately, I was still unable to overlook the filth and waste. Time to board! Woohoo! The chaos of getting that short distance to the port. The chaos of the port itself. And the overkill of the immigration and boarding process. Whew! We were so glad to get settled into our beautiful room. In the next video, I will provide details about the ship and some of the delights of cruising. In this video, we continue with India and Sri Lanka. Our first stop, Goa. We took a celebrity bus excursion to see some highlights. Upon exiting the ship, we received a delightful welcome. Goa was a Portuguese colony for over 450 years before it was annexed by India in 1961. It has one of the highest literacy rates in the country. Final stop in India, Cochin, also known as Kochi. We got to find our driver for a Viator tour that we booked to visit the Vaikom village in Kerala. This fascinating tour included a women's empowerment business, the village temple with a golden cow, a traditional welcome by a local family farm, demonstrating how they use every part of the coconut, a ride in the village canal, and a tuk-tuk ride to a homestay. For a traditional meal, which we ate like locals with our fingers. It was a great day. And on to Sri Lanka, formerly called Ceylon, also known as the teardrop of India. Docking in Colombo, capital of Sri Lanka, it took over 15 minutes by bus to get from the boat to the gate on the rough road with lots of construction, where we then met up with our driver for a tuk-tuk tour. We saw fascinating temples and mosques. It's the Lotus Tower. Stunning views from the 29th floor. Look, there's our ship. And us. And a must-see temple. These are all gods. Our guide said people pick what they want. So hey, pick a god, any god. Back to the ship. What a fun day. Now you're in for a real treat. Hambantota Port and the Yala Safari. During the hour drive to the reserve, we saw numerous cattle and dogs on the road, along with domestic water buffalo and crocodiles. The road was in great condition until we passed through the Yala entrance. I'm very impressed with the stability of my GoPro. The one-lane red clay road was rough. Good job. And very crowded with jeeps. This is my Jeep and how I got in. Grateful for the seatbelts. I hope you enjoy the ride with me. Keep your eyes open for the continuation. Cruising details, Phuket, Malaysia, and Indonesia. See you soon.
Okay, what do we think of that?
Yeah, well done. Nice story. I liked how she had multi things showing on the screen, appropriate amount of time.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could definitely read everything in terms of she had some text on there saying what an animal was or whatever. What did you think about the section that she did on the poverty in the slums? Did that grab you a little bit?
Loved it.
Oh, I did too. I mean,
I like that too, because it's not good just to be a simple tourist and take advantage of countries. It's good to see how most of the people live.
well, and you on your what's the day in the life or what do they call that, Sherry Lee, on those tours you do?
Yeah, on the ones with OAT, that's one of the things I love is we get to do a day in the life.
Okay.
This one, it was a Viador tour, going up to Kerala where we got to see this family. It was different because that's not really how they lived. They put that tour on for people to see kind of the history of their culture.
Okay.
But later they showed us how they did stuff more currently, and it was a little bit of a letdown. But the food was really good, and learning how to eat with our fingers, this kind of food, and just like, they were just like scoop it up in their hands and stick it in their mouth. It was like a kid learning how to eat, So that was a hoot to try and eat that way and to do it respectfully.
Sure.
Go
ahead, Todd.
What? This is a technical thing. I thought I noticed when you started the clip, when you went to the second port in Sri Lanka, something happened to the audio there.
Well,
I don't know if
it wasn't all recorded at the same time. The second one was the very first video that I did on Yala, and I just stuck that video into it. So they weren't, and the rest of it was all recorded fresh, if you will. So that's why there's a difference.
Yeah, is it volume? I don't know what. Wasn't quite sure what it was.
I'd have to listen to it.
I tried fiddling some with it, but I wasn't really being able to. But I'm not a pro either, so.
One of the things that Sherry Lee did, and I put this out to anybody here in the group. She sent me the video to, hey, listen to it. Let me know what you think. And in the first version that she sent me, the volume of the music at the beginning was overpowering her narration. And so I made some notes and I sent them back to her, and she made some changes on it. And it does definitely sound better in terms of that music overpowering her narration. But anytime if you have a video, send it to me if you want ahead of time, and I'd be happy to listen to it and give you some notes or whatever. So I always throw that out there. Yeah.
Well, since this is multimedia and I'm interested in books, back in 2012, a woman named Catherine Boo produced this ebook on the Mumbai slums. And she lived there for, I can't remember, a couple of years at least. I think it's longer than that. But she wanted video included in her book. So the book has been published in 2012, and it's Behind the Beautiful Forevers. And the Beautiful Forevers was the boulevard that runs from the airport out. And behind that is where the slums are. And there's links in the book to video. So talk about multimedia. And I think a lot of people here do video to kind of record trips they took, like you did, and the stories. But sometimes there's a lot more that you might want to say. So that's just one way to do it. That's the first time I've ever seen a video with a book.
Sure.
Pretty fascinating.
That is a fascinating technology.
Yeah.
What did you think of, normally we think of a travel video and it's going to be this happy tropical drinks and, all this stuff. Did you like the idea of her showing the slums a little bit and then showing you what she got on the cruise and then going other places?
Yeah.
I do. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And when Miss Catherine Boo did it, the people would not let her film.
Oh, yeah.
So she befriended teenagers, and after about 6 months, some of those said they would film for her and then give her the video, and that's where it came from. Yeah, and I was kind of surprised to see that the people there let you video them. Things have changed since 2012.
I guess. I think phones now are so common.
Yeah.
And people are, they don't know what you're taking pictures of. I mean, people saw me scanning. They didn't react at all. I mean,
it's a different time.
Yeah, it's good. I think it helps to know what's going on in the world.
Okay.
I had to work pretty hard at re-looking at it because it was really depressing. I mean, I was a mess emotionally with when we were in Mumbai and what we were seeing, and so when I was doing the video, I'm like, I need to not go down that dark rabbit hole. So it's like, and the kids have a playground, just like, it's like I just really worked on my narration to not go down the emotional rabbit hole that I was in when we were there.
Is this the first time you've ever seen poverty like that?
I had been to India in 2017, 2016, 17. And we were up at the Golden Triangle. My best friend and I went up there. And so we had a private guide and just the two of us, and they had put us in really nice hotels. So, and it was the Feast of Diwali, so everything was really, upbeat. So did we see poverty? Yes. Like this? No.
Yeah.
It was, it was a...
Sure. It's eye-opening.
Very eye-opening.
Yeah. I think, just quickly, I was going to say, the first time if you ever go somewhere and you see poverty like that, and it's just shocking to our systems because we don't live like that. And you think, oh my God, how are these people living like this? So I think after you see it, you come a little desensitized to it. It's like in your mind, you rationalize it as, okay, this is the way they live. I can't do anything about it. And you just kind of go, okay, as Sherry Lee did. Now go ahead, Ty.
I remember when you were during your travels and you posted on Facebook about the odors and the pollution of the air that it made you sick.
Yeah. It did. I mean, the pollution in the water, the pollution in the land, the pollution of the people, the pollution of the air. I mean, it was just, the water was scary. I know.
Well, sure.
I mean, we got on the cruise ship and we're up, I don't know, 8 floors up or whatever, looking down, and you can, and it's just loaded. And we didn't get away from it until we got into Malaysia. So Sri Lanka, it was less, but it was just all over there. And I'm just like, this stuff the oceans are all connected,
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
Just as a side note, when I was in Hong Kong, they had these little boats that had these like sieves on the front that they just kept driving through the harbor, and it would pick up the trash. And then there were barges that they would go over, and dump it in. And they just did that all day long. And everything, cleaning up the trash in the harbors.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else on that?
No, that was great, Sherry.
Just-
Yeah, I would say
It was a really good job
That-
putting it all
yeah.
together. The transitions, you did a good
Everything.
job.
Great story, and you did a nice job handling it.
Next to the still with the video. was nice.
Yep. Definitely. We love that.
Thank you.
Let's see here. Holly, you have got one for us that you just finished this morning. Why don't you tell us about this, please?
Yeah, okay, so this is the video I told you I wanted to do from the book I wrote. Because of course, video is a lot less expensive way to, and more inclusive way to include other people. So this is really for the family. Zeke is my grandson. And this is about a travel we did this Christmas time from here to Williamsburg, Virginia, and then to Charlottesville in Virginia. Then I flew home and he ended up with the car. And it's not quite done. I know one thing I need to fix is the transition that I chose ends up showing a black rectangle. You'll see it as it goes through this. So that's got to be changed. And I'm questioning whether I want to change the, redo the narration before I finish this.
Okay.
Have you done a book? Have you done a book? Are we looking at a book cover?
Yeah, that's the book cover. I've done the book. I brought that another time.
The book is printed.
Yes.
Okay.
The book is
All right.
printed. And this is more inclusive than the book. I mean, it's the same topic, but
All right. Well, let's check it out.
The story of the Lincoln Christmas begins at the end. Here, at the end of the book, you see Zeke at 12 years old. The year was 2012, and he's with Grandpa Corba. In the back, there's Skylar, and taking that picture was me. We were taking Zeke on his first drive in a car around the neighborhood, and the car he wanted to drive was our 2005 Lincoln Town car. After he drove it, he insisted my favorite car is the Lincoln Town car, and my favorite color is beige, its interior color. 2024 became the year of the Lincoln Christmas. Zeke flew to Tucson and arrived in Green Valley, Arizona on December 19th, 2024. Of course, immediately, we went to the White Elephant. Well, almost immediately. It's one of our favorite places to go in Arizona, Green Valley. And of course, we ate Mexican and went to the White Elephant again. Zeke got the cars and Christmas music ready for us. We'd be taking the Lincoln across the country to Williamsburg, Virginia, and he prepped the Hyundai for me to use when I got back. Oil change, fluids up, everything ready for Grandma. Our trip began, of course, in Arizona, our first state. We went to Saguaro National Park and were able to see the sunset. We had a brief but great stay getting ready for our adventure at 777 West Placita El Cueto, Grandma's house. One more Arizona stop was after we'd headed east on Route 10. We stopped at Texas Canyon, where Texans had first inhabited Arizona. A great place to stop and climb the rocks. Next stop, New Mexico, at the authentic trading post on the Continental Divide. We saw a rusted old Buick and a truck that looked almost like a Conestoga wagon. Checked out the historic trading post itself. Nothing of interest to buy. Then we spent that night in Azona, Texas, and enjoyed spicy cheese curds with dinner and festive Santa reindeer, and at the hotel, even a nice little Christmas tree to keep us in the mood. We had several more stops in Texas. It's big. So we went on to San Antonio and stopped at the Alamo, now engulfed by the city of itself. Remember the Alamo? Remember Davy Crockett? Then on to Missouri City, Texas, where we visited Bridget, my niece, and her husband Jake and their kids, Cameron, Cody, and Kaylee. What a festive household they kept. And we went out for brisket, too. Parane's Seafood was our Baton Rouge, Louisiana stop. The gumbo was delicious. Onward, we saw the Mississippi River and stopped for a photo of the state seal. Then onward some more to Alabama. Buc-ee's, our Auburn, Alabama stop. Twice. There's so much to see. So many gas pumps to choose from at Buc-ee's.
You've entered the car park for your destination.
We drove on to Greenville, South Carolina, and took our time to look around the town. Greenville's a place that one of Grandma's friends might be moving in a year or two. We went out for more Carolina barbecue. In Greenville, we walked the town and tried Carolina barbecue before getting immersed in traffic again. Finally, home before Christmas. December 23rd, we arrived at the Corbas in Williamsburg, Virginia, in time to celebrate. Tracy had set up Herb's Village, beautiful winter scene, and another one, the Dickens Village. And Skylar and Zeke made wonderfully cute Christmas cookies to give to the area first responders. We went to church. We played with the dog. We gathered as a family and took lots of photos. There was, of course, the photo of the three grandmas, Holly, Nan, and Darlene, and the Corbas. Zeke, of course, officially got the car. Tracy and I went to the DMV with Zeke, and the title is now Zeke Corba's Lincoln Town Car, officially a car of Virginia. We also went downtown in Williamsburg to look at the skating and the lights, have some dinner out. It was a wonderful time. Zeke continued to shine up that car and make it his own. And he kindly took me to Charlottesville to visit my friend Carolyn. And he and Skylar and Tracy drove home. So that is the Lincoln Christmas from beginning to the end. I hope you enjoyed it.
Okay. What do we think of that?
I think it's a great story. I mean, really touching, great story. I have a few comments on technicalities. I thought some of the, for lack of a better word, Ken Burns stuff at the beginning I thought was a little too fast, which was the same problem everybody told me about mine. So
Yeah.
kind of know from whence I come. And there were some glitches in the sound, I think mostly towards the end, and I lost the narration in the music towards the end.
When you went to the Georgia section of the video, your narration was like 10 dB,
Yeah.
way over. And then when you got to the part that Sam's talking about, it was the night scene and stuff. Now your volume was like 10 dB too low. I also now the other preface you should have for this too is that she's trying Final Cut again, and there's a number of things that I saw in terms of transitions, technical little glitches. Pictures are flashing for like a half a second and then they're gone. We don't know what they are.
Right.
There was sometimes almost like a fade down on some of the imagery, where it would come down real quick and then come right back up real quick with the next one instead of a transition across dissolve or some other transition. I will sit with you and go through this, and you and I can do Final Cut, and I will help you clean up. I think the stories there, like Sam said, they're just the technical issues of volumes, and then some of these little glitches that are in there.
One
Well, good.
more
I appreciate that. And I appreciate the time you've already spent with me.
one more
Sam.
comment. It's very unusual for is Zeke like 24 or something?
Yeah, 24.
24. Why does a 24-year-old want a Lincoln Town Car? And,
Well, he wanted it when he was 12, and he still wanted it.
but
Price, right?
is there anything for that? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
The back seat.
back seat.
Yeah, where are you going with that?
I don't know if there's any more to tell about why the Lincoln Town Car meant so much to him, but that might be an addition.
Okay. Well, have you ridden in one? It's like Jim says.
Oh,
They are great. And well, okay. But yes, I understand what you're saying. Thanks. This, besides being a second attempt at Final Cut, and the other one was over a year ago, this was the first time I've tried to do narration and record it and then add the photos, which, as you've seen, doesn't work for me.
Okay,
So, and as I mentioned, I'm going to probably do the narration totally over.
sure.
But there's a couple pieces that were added after the pre-recording, which is why the volumes are all screwed.
Yeah,
So anyway, that's
sure. Yeah,
live and learn. I'm learning still. I'm still living. That's good.
Kind of
Share it.
where the narration didn't match the video,
Okay,
Yeah.
where it needed to be pulled, just paused,
Sure.
and then brought
Yeah.
further in.
yeah,
He's talking about driving and something else I forget.
okay. Yeah, Shirley, go ahead.
Because you're doing it, this is just a suggestion, always take what you like and leave the rest, but I would have the book border like on all of the pages and have the extra video stuff like a living book, where you still have like the book, because the times when you when you had a transition where it was going from one page of the photo album to the next page, it would give it a continuity, because you're telling the story from the book, even though you're adding more stuff. But if you had the frame, in every picture where it looked like you're inside the book, it's just a suggestion.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to figure out if I know how to do that, or if Kevin does. It's funny, gosh. We'll see. Thank you for the suggestion.
And some of the images, I don't know if you cropped them and zoomed in on them. They were a little soft and everything. Have you tried to run them through Topaz or anything?
No, I didn't.
That possibly would help.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's the danger of if you get an image that's not exactly tack sharp, so to speak, and now you're enlarging it a bunch, it really shows
Yeah.
that it's out of focus, or it's so noisy, so grainy.
Right.
So
There was a lot of noise on one of the early pictures, I think, of the family.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll get, the good thing is, I will help and we'll clean it up. That's one of the hard things, when we're going from, like, somebody's going from iMovie to Final Cut in the Apple world, or going from one of the PC programs and going to DaVinci. And you can really screw things up really fast when you go to these advanced programs, because there's so much that you can do and there's so much you can get wrong. So anyway, it just takes time, but we will work on it. We'll clean it up. And then I think when it's all said and done, we will have a nice story for you.
It's a great story.
Oh, yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was a once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
And next Sunday, he's coming back with his sister and we're going to Grand Canyon. So maybe I'll learn that movie.
Awesome.
Okay, does anybody have anything else on that?
I was just kind of curious as to how you developed, what was your thought process? You thought it would have been easy just to drive and date this trip without doing any recorded photography. And I'm just kind of curious. I mean, it's a fascinating story that the kid wants the car still.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to figure out where you decided to make it into a feature.
Well, meaning you did the book.
Oh, well, that probably grew.
I bet it wasn't his idea.
No, it grew. First of all, I don't take tours without taking photographs. I don't. And part of the reason is because of being in this group for so long and learning things like, when you go on a trip, don't forget to take pictures of the signs, that, or the people or whatever. I used to do a lot of scenery. I don't do near as much, and I don't do as much scenery without people in it. But the story grew since Zeke was 12, because every time we saw him, which was sometimes in Arizona and sometimes in Virginia, with this car, he wanted to drive it. And he got groomed to be my person who drives. My chauffeur. He would open the door for me. And actually, I should, if I had somebody else to film, I could have a photo of that, But he just has always, since he was 12, loved that car, and probably he got to see it every few years, not every year even, because sometimes we'd have it in New York and sometimes we'd have it in Arizona, because you can drive a car like that across the country and not get tired. It's wonderful. And we've always loved the car. It probably helped that Rana also loved the car, and my oldest brother had a similar car, a Lincoln Town car, 1 year different. And so it became kind of a manly thing to do for Zeke. And then he had no place to put it. Like when he graduated high school, their driveway is too sloped for such a long car. and so again, he wished he had it, but he bought an old truck instead and learned how to work on cars. And that's another thing. It's a 2005 Lincoln. So you don't have all this electronic garbage. He knows he can work on this one himself. And he learned on his truck, though, kind of that. And then he got to college, and the truck wasn't reliable enough, and it didn't have a backseat, Jim. So he wanted a Lincoln Town car.
Nice.
He asked me, he called me up last summer and said, Grandma, could this year be the year that I get the Lincoln? Could you give it to me this year? Because I was using it until he got it. And I said, yeah. And he said, well, would it work if I flew out? And we drove it back to Virginia. And I said, sure, we could do that. So that's how the story evolved.
Okay, I just Shirley does the map thing. I always like that. I always like working. I'd love to see. We had pictures from different states, but I'd love to see the route we took. I mean, it's just 3 seconds, and I'm happy.
Well, we can certainly do that.
Put in a beige tongue.
All right. Does anybody have anything else on that? All right. Thank you, Holly. Phil, you have got a little goodie for us, and it sounds like it's spooky. Why don't you tell us about this?
Well, I finished my regular work last week and had nothing else to do. And so I looked for archival footage, and this stuff was mostly shot in 23,
Okay,
I think. And it's just a fun film, and it's stupid.
good. I love when you do stupid. You do stupid well. All right, here we go. And that's a compliment, too.
This is Area 51.
A dry lake bed, a 12,000-foot runway, dozens of aircraft hangars, and perhaps, just perhaps, a spaceship or two. This is Area 51, deep in the Nevada desert, sometimes called Dreamland. Inside some underground structures in an off-base area called S3, perhaps sit crates containing parts of spacecraft that have been collected from crash sites around the globe.
Troy 2-1, go ahead.
It's not weird, but I just had something pass underneath my wing, maybe like a football-sized object right underneath our wing.
Many of America's military secrets have been tested here. Pilots and even ground workers have died here, all in the name of national security. Perhaps the biggest secret hiding in this landscape are visitors. Visitors from outer space. According to men like Bob Lazar and a handful of others, Area 51 is the repository of alien spacecraft and even the bodies of spacemen. The kickoff year for the UFO seems to be 1947. A pilot named Kenneth Arnold, flying near Mount Rainier in Washington state, claimed to have seen a series of flying discs zooming across the mountain. Another name associated with UFO lore is Roswell, a little town in New Mexico. If you are a believer, and there are many, America's interaction with aliens may have started near here also in 1947. And just to prove it, in Roswell there is a museum devoted to UFOlogy. Guarding the entrance are little green men, but the theme doesn't stop here. Many of the stories of UFOs and their supposed interactions with humans are chronicled in this converted movie theater. One of the displays outlined in detail the experience of Air Force Officer Major Jesse A. Marcel. He shook the world with his news release declaring in bold headlines that the government had captured a UFO near Roswell. Then the top brass stepped in and quickly declared the whole thing a hoax. The generals said it was a high-altitude weather balloon. And the museum is a veritable treasure trove of how Hollywood treated UFOs. If you're a UFO fan or even a sci-fi fan, this is the place for you, because the government has maintained such a high level of secrecy. Conspiracy theories abound. This little museum is covered with them. This is their idea of what the 1947 Roswell crash really looked like. A saucer, out of control, crashes into a hillside outside of town. Then aliens crawl out onto the desert floor. What exactly did these alien visitors look like? Well, the museum may have the answer. They aren't green, they're gray. And as you look around the museum, there are more gray men, but they're not so little. This museum has left no rock unturned. They even feature the story of Betty and Barney Hill. In 1961, the Hills were the first to publicly declare that they had been abducted by aliens. Their story only came out under hypnosis. The Hills told anyone who would listen that they had been taken aboard a spaceship, subjected to medical testing, and then released. Both Betty and Barney stuck to their story until their deaths. The museum also tries to tell the story of Arizona resident Travis Walton. A film released in 1993 entitled Fire in the Sky purports to outline Walton's alien abduction from a forest land in northern Arizona. According to his account, he was beamed up from the forest into a flying saucer, subjected to torture experiments, and then 5 days and 6 hours later released. Travis then told his story to the National Enquirer. And finally, no UFO museum would be complete without an alien autopsy. Shown on television around the world and broadcast in the U.S. by Fox in 1995, the autopsy captured huge TV ratings. The autopsy was a huge hoax, shot on a low budget in an apartment in London. But it captured the attention of millions and sparked a huge debate. The museum displays the surgical procedure inside a booth, allowing visitors to peer through the glass and get an up-close view of the dissection of an alien visitor. The bodies themselves had been created by sculptor John Humphreys in London. He filled the plaster casts with raspberry jam, sheep brains, and animal parts obtained from a butcher shop. The autopsy caps off your museum visit. Many who view all of these wonders walk away with more questions than answers. Is anyone out there?
Go see that museum. Yeah.
Just looking at the people at the museum. I mean, anybody who's not a believer and goes into that museum, it's just fun to look at the other people. Like, are they believers?
Yeah. Are they looking at you, Joe, and saying, "Is Joe a believer?"
Well, they're paying $12 or something like that to get in.
Well, there you go.
And there's a big festival there each year.
Sure.
What's that?
There's a big festival there each year.
Oh, yeah. There's everything. I mean, McDonald's has a giant green man. I mean, the whole town is UFOs.
Yeah.
I've never known anybody before Phil that got underground and got in all that, got all that documentation.
Just amazing stuff.
Is this part of something else you're showing?
Yeah, I did a film for it was one of the channels. I did part of it.
Okay.
And this was just kind of some stuff I pulled out of it.
And did you rewrite this narration?
Wrote the whole thing, yeah.
But meaning for just this video?
Yeah. Well, I was just bored.
Well, honestly, but you know what? It's amazing when you're bored what you're producing.
Yeah.
Like Joe said, I want more.
Yeah.
I was fascinated. Again, that was about 7 some odd minutes long, and it's like that could have been 12 minutes.
Yep.
It could have been 15 minutes if it was that same.
Yeah, but I can't show the full length stuff in this class because we have an attention span of about 3 minutes here. So,
I mean, my attention span?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say because it's classified.
No, classified. No, we won't talk about that.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, this isn't about the film, but when I was driving back east a couple of years ago, I went through Roswell to go to the museum and stuff like that. But when I got into Roswell, I lost all the GPS on my car and on my phone. And I couldn't get it to come back up, and ended up stopping in a Verizon store in Texas, and they were able to somehow.
Todd, it was Roswell.
It was Roswell.
Well, the spooky thing, when I was in film school 100 years ago, I did a narration and a piece for EG&G, which is the prime contractor for Area 51. And strangely enough, they visited me years later. So they're still out there.
They wanted to see what you knew?
They just wanted to see if I had memories of the shooting this, or not shooting, I didn't shoot it. They shot it and I just worked on it.
Did they have a little black stick about that high?
No, actually, they just called and said that someone would come and visit me, and they wanted to know if I remembered anything about this, and I knew nothing about what I was doing.
Yeah,
not a thing. It's so compartmentalized, it's scary.
The Men in Black, they made sure that you did.
There you go. That's right.
No, the guy had a gray suit.
Okay, does anybody else have anything on that? Yeah, Danny, go ahead.
I thought that the first part of the volume was so high it drowned out what you were talking about.
Oh,
the mix here sounds real strange to me. I agree with you, Danny.
Well, towards the end it was fine, but the first part.
Yeah, it was the music was too hot, but on my near fields they sounded fine.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, we also have a technical issue we have to fix on this. Somebody went in and screwed up the audio and the speakers.
Really?
On our system.
Yeah.
On our system.
Oh, yeah.
We were messing around with it last week.
And I was messing around with it this morning. I'm going to have to get a couple of beers and come over here and try to figure it out. Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
So like halfway through the video, then you came on and said it was a production by you.
You had in the middle. You in the middle.
Yeah, not half, but yeah.
You had the.
So at first I thought, oh, is this the
right there?
Oh yeah, that's called the hook.
You're getting him in here with the hook, and then now is when he starts.
Yeah, that's a TV technique. It's called the hook, and you set them up, and it's used in television all the time, and then you introduce the boring stuff.
Kirk, did you have something?
No, it's not for that. I just, I provided Todd my 80-second AI video. I didn't know if you had that.
Oh, I don't.
I'm going to go grab it. I think it's in Todd's folder, but there was a video that I took about a couple of little videos with pictures and made a funny thing for my sister.
Okay. Is John here? John's not here.
No.
Okay, well then I guess we won't show his film. There's no sense in showing it if he's not here. Well, we'll wait for Kirk, and then we're going to cut this part out. Remember, before we leave tomorrow night, I can't plug this enough. 7:00 Desert Hills.
Yeah.
The incredible movie that we shot as a club, and I'm really proud of it. We put a lot of work into it, and there was a lot of prep that went into it. The rehearsals. How many times did you rehearse, Diane, with everybody? At least 3 or 4, wasn't it?
No, like 8.
8 times.
Oh, yeah. We met like every Monday after this class for a couple months.
So there was a lot. And then we visited the site and we checked it out. So we did a lot of prep. We shot the thing in one day, and then Phil and Diane and I did editing on it. And we spent a bunch of time doing that. So, but I think we've created something that's pretty darn nice. Okay. Let's see here. Which goodie is this?
So I did 2. One was the first one was all AI, and the second I added just a couple. So you really only need to show the first one.
Okay, well, let me show the first one then. Hang on, I'm going to drag that in. That way it'll play a little better.
I use a mocha pot, make espresso, and I was just thinking, hey, this would be funny to send a short video to my sister via, text it to her. And so I gathered all this, and I finally found that I'm using Microsoft's Clipchamp, and had seen the AI button. It's like, oh, let me put a bunch of these in there and see what it comes up with.
Okay. Well,
So it's just me making a mocha pot espresso in the morning.
okay. Well, let's see what you got.
I thought maybe get a little more crema on top. The majority of that, this was the version I went back and then edited it in Clipchamp and then added in some of the text and a few other things. But primarily, that was the nice thing I found. It helps me learn what capabilities Clipchamp has.
Okay.
So,
Are you saying here's the ingredients and now it bakes the cake? Or are you meaning?
That's a good question.
Well, meaning how much of what we just saw, you said you did editing on this. How much is you? How much is AI?
Go pick the other one.
Okay.
And that was all AI. So majority of it was.
None.
And that's what this should be the one that Microsoft Clipchamps came in with.
Okay, let's see what.
So this one's all AI.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Just a couple of additions to the AI version.
I don't see much of a difference short of you're adding the text and stuff that you did at the end. And
So I didn't modify this much. I just added in a few pictures. I slided two pictures together of the stills in there.
Right.
And then add the text at the end.
Okay.
So what did you feed it to? What did you ask it for from the AI?
Just make me a movie.
Yeah. So I asked, Clipchamp's kind of like Da Vinci. So I'm trying to still stay and learn now, so I have another option for numbers. But I took, and like Todd had shown, I took a folder, went through my Lightroom or off my phone, picked the pictures, and then I labeled them in order because I don't think if you do that, then it's like, yeah, I'll just throw stuff together. And it chose the film background and the sound and the starting for the clip and added that in itself. And so I just added the pictures in order, the pictures and video it, and numbered it in the order I wanted it to show.
So you had no choice about vertical or horizontal format?
No.
Wow. That's crazy.
Again, if you show the final one.
Right.
And so I went back and did a few things. You can go back and change stuff and move it around like you want.
The 3-panel idea
So
was
right here, it's missing the.
Was that AI?
I put in a couple of out the two pictures in. And then went around and resized some things.
There's, it needs that all the time. That
background.
The background stuff, yeah.
So they took the AI took. I don't know if it was several options, but they did. Again, I think I probably when I did the insertions, I didn't have that background. I didn't, something I can go copy and put in.
I guess my question is, why?
To me, it's a learning experience.
This looks like bad film from 1957. I don't get
Meaning
it.
trying to learn the software is what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, that I understand. Yeah, that makes sense.
And I thought it was a cute clip to send to my sister to tell her, I'm going to go make my cappuccino.
Yeah. That is fun.
It's Facebook.
Like TikTok material.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But that's pretty elementary, that AI.
Right. Well, I guess it's when I was working with, was it yesterday you and I were working, Holly?
Yeah.
Okay.
It seems like a year ago.
And when I was leaving, she said, this is fun, working on this video project that she's doing. And that it should be fun.
Yeah.
I always worry about the automation thing is nice. It makes a really nice thing, but where's the creative joy in it? Meaning you've made something, you've assembled it, you put it together. And I'm not knocking this group. I'm just saying in general, the iPhone, you can say, make me a story about these photos, and it does it. And it does a great job. But I always think of it as, I want to shoot something, I want to put it together. Maybe I'm going to do narration, I'm going to add music, and I'm going to put this out there, and somebody goes, wow, that piece you did was great. I really loved it. It's like how we reacted to Phil's video here with the UFO. He's got something, he said it's goofy and it's funny, but it's great.
It's all AI.
It's all AI. Phil is AI apparently. So anyway, that's all I constantly talk about this, but it's just, I think it's the joy of doing stuff, creating, making stuff. I think that's what this group is about, getting better as we're doing stuff.
Well, if the AI is great, if it does something you can't do.
Well, since I've only been using that for a couple months or 6 months, but really starting to get into it the last couple months. I used a lot of the techniques I saw from the AI in another travelogue video I'm working on. And so for me, it's not so much letting the AI create everything, but it's like, why did they put that in? So now they've got, I can put text above. I didn't know I could do the background. Okay. So all that was like, wow, I kind of like this stuff. So what can I pick and choose what that did to include in my other work?
I think that's always just as a quick sidebar in a sense. That's when you watch videos on YouTube or whatever, and you might see something that somebody did and try to figure out, how did they do that? I want to do that. That's a great.
But AI, the neat part to me is doing things that you can't do.
Right.
As an example, Harrison Ford in their latest film looks like he's 21 years old.
Yeah.
That's AI.
Right.
It would be very difficult for you using even the digital tools we have today to do that.
Right.
But AI does it. That's where I think it ought to be used. Just throwing stuff into a video blender and saying, hey, give me a movie. So what?
Well, the other aspect is I have a couple of friends that I travel with, and she just did a big travel trip. And I said, bring me 20 or 50 pictures. I don't want to spend 20 hours on working her work, and she's not interested in doing it. So I told her, I'll bring it in. I'll put it, we'll put them in order. We'll put it in here, and then she can go home and show it to her family and friends. That's something that, I'm glad to help her a little bit, but, I'll give her 5-10 hours, but I don't want to spend 20, 30 hours it takes to do something.
Well, I would agree with that. Yeah, Joe.
Oh, Kurt, I was just curious, how much verbiage did you put into your request, your prompt? I mean, was it like 2 sentences or was it 2 paragraphs? Or?
Nothing. It's nothing. It's I put all the stuff in a folder. I think maybe I'm not even sure. I don't think can't remember if I put them on to the layer and hit AI, but I think I did. Just had them all in the folder, and here's my media. Click AI. AI generate from this group.
And that's Clipchamp?
That was Flip Channel.
Okay.
Is that like Magic Movie?
It's the same concept. It's a Microsoft product, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I found Magic Movie useful when I I have a young teenager who's kind of my adopted grandchild who's hyperactive, and I take her places. And whenever I go places, I take movies and videos and throw that into Magic Movie because she wants to see something today.
Right.
What we did.
Sure.
And it's good for that.
Well, sure. Oh, I think it has a purpose. I just think of our group.
Quick turnaround.
We want to be creative and we want to do something versus come in and if everybody just did, AI or Magic Movie or something, we'd be like, well, what's the point? It's like show and tell. So anyway.
So I have a slightly different perspective on AI. I think AI should be used for the mundane stuff that you could do, but just don't feel like it because it's not really creative. And that would give you more time or make you more productive to the creative stuff.
This might be good for members who do not want to delve into something that's this depth. And just want to say, hey, I've got all my pictures. I want to send it off to family.
Or maybe
That's maybe more of the use. So people are very beginners and don't want to delve into making a great video, but they want to have something that comes up easy.
Or you can think of it as like a natural language interface instead of having to learn the intricacies of, Da Vinci and how do you splice things together. Just say, put this kind of transition in there and find some music for me, music suggestions.
Well, I can definitely see, I do like that idea. There's people who don't want to come in here and learn all this stuff. And they just want to, hey, help me create a quick movie. Boom. Here's the program. Let's dump in the content. Here's your movie. Thank you. Have a nice day.
But then they expect us to watch it.
Well, we didn't say we were going to do that.
Hopefully they get hooked and want to come in and work.
Well, that would be nice. Okay. Does anybody have anything else before I shut down the shop?
I'm just going to, there was, I don't know if it was the animated feature film or the animated short that won the Oscar last night, but it was all done on a free video animation software called Blender. They did
everything.
Well, Blender's been out for years.
Has it?
Oh, yeah. I've used it. It's good. But I didn't know it was free.
Well, that's what they...
Oh, really?
They said,
there you go.
Maybe it's like Da Vinci, they have a free version.
Well, it may be.
You in and get you to pay for it.
Yeah, this whole animated film was done on there.
All right. Yes, Doug?
Would you show that picture again?
Well, let me do this. I'm going to stop the recording, then I'll show it because I don't want to embarrass Diane any more than we already have. Next week, we will be here on the 10th. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.